Hey guys, how's it going? It's the Crypto Analyst here, and I hope all of you guys are having a good morning, evening, wherever you guys are from. And welcome back to the Crypto Analyst live stream, where we go over everything Bitcoin related and everything cryptocurrency/blockchain related. And we go over this in the form of a live stream, where of course we take you guys the questions, whatever you guys have, and we answer those on stream, as well as going over what's happening in Bitcoin right now. So if you guys haven't noticed, I'm a little bit stuttering at my words. Bitcoin is up nearly $3,000 in the last 24 hours, which is just simply incredible. I mean, it could not be, if there's any time to stutter at your words, it's right here, because everything looked so bearish and dreary and dreadful, and there was almost a certain death cross that I have circled over here that was just so close to happening, and Bitcoin decided to pull an incredible trick out of its sleeve and really rip $3,000 in the last 24 hours. So let me go ahead and make sure we are live, because this is actually my second time doing the live stream. Apparently we didn't go live last time, so I was talking to myself for quite a bit. But welcome everybody. If you guys are in, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that we send out the link to everybody that is watching, and then we can get this show on the road. So let me go ahead and fix this real fast and make sure that everyone gets the notification that we are indeed live, and then we can move into talking about some Bitcoin. So now that everybody got that, we can go ahead and move on in here. If you guys are just now joining in, let me know in chat. Let me know that this thing is actually indeed working. And then we can go ahead and start moving in. So as I was mentioning, Bitcoin, and I want to wait to talk about this and give everybody a chance to join in before I just dive on into the core meat and potatoes of this content, as always. But with Bitcoin pulling off this, it's quite the incredible feat, and I have a lot that I want to talk about, and I don't want to rant 1 minute into the stream before everybody joins and then have to reiterate everything all over again. Slice Keeper, I was just about to call it a night. Welcome, Slice Keeper. Welcome, Crypto Slice of Life. Welcome, Poker Throat. Alert was sent out. All right, perfect. Yeah, so basically this is my second time doing the live stream. I went live and I didn't go live. So I had to reset all my stream stuff, my thumbnail, my description. Everything got wiped for some reason. So this is stream number 2. No one saw stream number 1 because it technically never went live, unfortunately. But yeah, Bitcoin. Let us talk about this. I want to give everybody, we've only been live for 2 minutes, so I want to give everyone until around 5 minutes to join. That's usually what I like to give, and then I'm going to dive on into this because there's just absolutely so much to talk about in here. There's so much to talk about. Wow. And the more that I look at this chart, the more that I'm seeing. Hi, team from Australia. Welcome. Great to have you in here. I'm actually thinking about moving to Australia myself. So great to hear you. Let me know your favorite part of Australia. Where we're at, 3 minutes. So welcome everybody. Welcome Crypto Santa. Great to have you in here. We're just giving everybody a minute or two to join in here before we talk about the bulk of this, because there's a lot of really important information to talk about here, because Bitcoin is just rocketing. I mean, the amount of strength and buying pressure that's happening in here is incredible. The volume isn't anything insane on a daily time scale. It's nothing like out of this world. It's great volume, but it's not like these record levels of like blowing my mind volume. Now, the buying pressure as opposed to the selling pressure here is like below your mind kind of. But the volume itself isn't really. This is basically saying that the volume isn't significant because no one wants to sell here and everybody wants to buy. I mean, look at these last 2 candles. The volume isn't anything crazy. There's just no one to be selling here. This is just all buying pressure. And the sellers are kind of just falling off. I mean, they've had the past couple months to drag this thing down all the way from nearly 14K to nearly 7K. I mean, they cut the price in half only for it to, of course, start ripping out now. Can it dump pretty hard at this point, or is it just starting the run? We're going to be talking about that. Is this just the beginning? I received a regional Victoria on a small farm. I am in regional Victoria on a small farm. That sounds beautiful. Slice Keeper says, dump, hi bro, manipulation, pump at a death cross. I know, man. I know. Maybe just a little bit. But I kind of agree with you. So let us begin and talk about this. I believe we're about 5 minutes in. So let's go ahead I think we've given everyone enough time to kind of join in here. So with Bitcoin moving upwards $3,000 in the last 24 hours from 7.2 around 7.3k all the way up to around 10.6k, so upwards of around $3,300 within the last 24 hours, which is one, incredible, and it's a huge sign of where we're at in this market, because we were at an extremely bearish point for Bitcoin. I made the video yesterday and the day before that kind of talking just about how bearish Bitcoin was looking from a technical standpoint. And I was actually on the phone with my dad, and he said, well, yes, of course, there's all these technicals. I need to sit up a little bit. Sorry, guys, I'm out of the camera view. Yes, there are all these technicals saying this in the chart, but what is the actual fundamentals that are driving these technicals? And sometimes the answer is, there really isn't an answer. And so the more I thought about it, the more I was really confused, only to wake up this morning around 8 a.m. and see Bitcoin just pumping through that 7 to 8K region. Of course, now we just broke through 10K and hit previous support, now turned resistance. So with this happening, this is such an obscure situation that a lot of people didn't see coming because of this death cross on this one-day chart. Now, technically speaking, the death cross never happened. The one thing that I said is that it is almost imminent. It is imminent that it very well could happen, but there was still a very small chance that it could defy this death cross. Now, I'm not saying that the death cross can't happen from here. Maybe this is just a giant bull trap of sorts. But moving $3,000 in a single day is it's a little bit mind-boggling because you don't know what to think, but also it's a sign of a lot of bullishness. Yes, technically we didn't break this last form of resistance, but you could very well see this in the coming days or the coming weeks, because one of the things that I mentioned was that if Bitcoin wanted to defy this death cross, it needed to absolutely rip, and that's for sure what we got here. So Bitcoin broke 4 different layers of resistance, and that's something I want to talk about here. So number one, Bitcoin broke this 50 EMA, it broke the 200 EMA, it broke the top of this channel and former support, now turn resistance of this descending triangle. So with Bitcoin breaking all 4 of these guys, again, all 4 of these being extremely, I don't want to say the word extreme, but they all were significant resistance, one way or another. So with Bitcoin breaking all 4 of these guys, it is, sorry, I just had someone walk in. Let me mute this just real fast. Hopefully you guys can't hear that in the background. I totally lost my train of thought of what I was saying. Where were we? Manipulation at the pump. Julian, thumbs up. Yeah. Totally lost my, sorry, someone just opened my door and I totally lost my train of thought. So with Bitcoin essentially touching this last form of resistance and where it was at is it had previous support, now turned resistance of being right here. Of course, this upwards trend line of what was forming a pennant is now, of course, turning resistance. So we had our first touch point, our second touch point, our third touch point, and our fourth touch point, only to break down, of course, bounce off the heart line and come back up and retouch this. The significance of this is that this falling channel is now completely broken out of with beautiful volume and beautiful buying pressure. So with Bitcoin breaking out from here, we can, I don't want to delete this yet because it could very well come back and retest this area. So there's no point, because in the same way that would have been like deleting this line and saying, oh, well, we're never going to use that again. Where of course, here we are right now. This is still a significant trend line that I want to keep in here because it can always retest this area. The one line that I will get rid of is going to be this one, because now it's double broken, and on the way down it didn't give a care, and on the way up it didn't give a care. So I'm getting rid of this guy now. With my thoughts on Bitcoin and where it's at right now, I think one of the most likely areas that I could see it going to is one. So let's talk about this, because it can really go one of two directions, obviously. Now, everyone says, oh, it always has a third option of just moving sideways. Bitcoin always does that. I don't think this is the area where you're going to see just a no volume. The volume all just falls off. It freezes at 10K and just moves sideways. I don't see that really as a viable or feasible option right here. So with Bitcoin happening, obviously everyone's screaming, well, this is just manipulation, it's a fake pump, and the death cross is still going to happen, and Bitcoin should just tank from here. We see the rejection candle, Brendan. Why can't it continue just going down from here? Obviously, clear rejection from resistance, previous support, now turn resistance. This is the break, the hook, and then this is the go, which is still a very, very possible option. However, so we really have to see how Bitcoin consolidates here, because if it continues to consolidate in a bull flag formation, then it will almost certainly push right through this 10K area and start retesting some of these previous highs that we actually still have marked up here. And I almost deleted these, so I'm really glad that we left them here. But forms of resistance after, of course, this resistance line, guys, is going to be around 10.6K, 12.1K, 13.1K, and around 13.9K. So these are really going to be the major forms of resistance moving forward. And support actually has a lot here, because if this 50 EMA, if this can essentially, all this has to do is continue anywhere above these EMAs, and that yellow one's going to continue moving upwards towards the area of where the price is. So if it continues painting any kind of neutral or green, or even really kind of painting any candles above the around 8.5, or I'm sorry, above the 8.9K area, this 50 EMA is going to continue moving up over here. Now, this could be a very bullish sign, because if this death cross actually does get contradicted and start moving towards the upside, I want to go ahead and look at this on a 4 hours perspective and show exactly what this means when these death cross or golden crosses get contradicted. Because the last time we saw this was, of course, the death cross happening in mid-August, the retesting what we thought was going to be a golden cross, a fake out, came back up, faked it out again, and then came down over here. Now, this isn't something that we see happen a lot. We've only had a fake out on a daily time scale once in the history of Bitcoin, I believe, which I will show right after this. Yeah, moon those likes. Thank you, Batman. Thank you, Batman. I like that name. But as I was saying, so after we saw a fake out of a golden cross or a death cross, after we saw a fake out of one of these significant guys, of course, it moves drastically in the opposite direction. So if it was a golden cross fake out, then it moved down. And if it's a death cross fake out, it should move rapidly up. Of course, we saw the fake out, then the rapid move down. So the vice versa of this, we would think would happen on the daily time scale. So now let's go ahead and look at this. And really the only fake out that we've ever seen on the daily time scale. So on Bitcoin, we had our death cross. I believe it was the second death cross in the history of Bitcoin. The first real significant one, but technically the second one that it's ever had, in my opinion, at least on the Coinbase chart, because the first one was back in like 2013, 14. 12 maybe. It was very, very early. So with with the second death cross happening in March of 2018, we saw it come over here and looked like it was going to golden cross, actually faked out very, very well in here. And this was a little bit more obvious, as I mentioned in the last video, because of the fact that it literally just death crossed. So it'd be very weird if all of a sudden it reversed to a golden cross like a month later, not even. Yeah, but I don't even think it was a month. It was actually almost a month on the day. So of course, following this death cross, Bitcoin faked out the golden cross and plummeted downwards. So if Bitcoin fakes out a death cross, should it not just rocket upwards? And that's kind of the thoughts that I'm trying to get at here, is that if it actually does fake this out and contradict and get rid of this ideology of a death cross even happening here, then Bitcoin should do something very similar in the vice versa standpoint of, since this is a golden cross and a death cross getting contradicted, should it not just continue rocketing upwards to at least $12,000, which is something that's very, very possible. I do think, okay, cool, chat is working. If you guys haven't already, hit that like button, it helps out the channel a lot. And if you guys are enjoying the content, feel free to share it with someone. If you guys have any questions, ask those in the chat box to the side, and I'd love to be able to answer those for you guys. So continuing on here, with Bitcoin touching this former support line, now turn resistance, Can it break this? I think the obvious answer is yes, it can break this. This is quite the rejection wick, but we have this, something that I don't want to kind of just throw out the window is that while this is quite the rejection wick, it doesn't mean that it can't break this. If you guys were looking at this a couple of hours ago, you saw the exact same thing going from, I believe it was 9K to like 8K. Big old fat wick up in this area, and then again, this candle just came through and just blew right through it, ate it up, and set a whole new wick that we have to look at now. And maybe we can see that on an hourly time scale. Yeah, so over in here, I mean, it wicked all the way up to around 9.7, and I saw it retracting all the way back down to the lower part of 9Ks, and I was like, all right, well, that might be the top. Of course, the next hour, the next hourly candle opened and just blew right through this guy. So when this all started around, what is this, 15 hours Central Time? So yeah, not even close to 24 hours ago. Anyway, let's move this back to a 4-hour time scale. Very good analysis. I appreciate it. How much is the death cross? What do you mean? What do you mean? How much? Oops. So with Bitcoin, let's move this back. Let's actually take a moment to look at some of the indicators and oscillators, and then I will move back to Bitcoin. But I want to go over the indicators and oscillators on the 4-hour chart and the 1-day chart and the 3-day, as well as the monthly. And then we'll wrap back into the candle chart of Bitcoin. So MACD and RSI are incoming. Obviously, there's not much TA to be done there. There's no signaling from the MACD in any way on the 4-hour chart that this was going to happen. On the, I think you could argue that on the 4-hour RSI chart, it was a little bit more obvious because of the fact that this was just a higher swing low, and then this guy rocketed out. You have a nice little downwards trend over here from the RSI. No like insanely vivid signaling that this was going to happen. I think the most obvious one is that it bottomed out over here, and then you saw this start forming, and by the time you saw this is probably saying, all right, this is going to be a confirmed higher swing low, and Bitcoin should continue upwards from here. Now, no one thought it was going to be a quite vertical line like this, but this is a bullish divergence on the 4-hour chart of the RSI. Moving over to the 1-day chart. Yeah. So no bullish divergence over in here. Well, you did have the oscillator start curling down over here from a pretty low point, but I wouldn't say any kind of like huge significant bullish divergence. This was the one though on the daily chart that was looking a little bit more bullish because you did have consistent higher swing lows happening over here, and you did have, and sorry for all these circles, they're from the 4-hour chart and it doesn't transfer, so I just have them everywhere, but I use them for learning materials. But basically you have your lower swing low from the RSI all the way back in November of 2018, and then this of course being the higher swing low on this daily time scale, saying that there are lower levels of negative momentum coming in on this little bear market that we had previously had, I mean now of course broken out of. And so with lower levels of negative momentum coming in, the bears are weaker, and therefore the bulls are now stronger. And we saw this 1, 2, 3 bounced off of this oversold territory and then just rocketed straight up from here. So again, I imagine we touch or get very close to this overbought area. The fact that it has been able to move from the oversold to overbought area in 24 hours is, I mean, it's insane. I mean, that never ever happens. That's something that actually takes months, and we did it in a day. So, I mean, quite literally, I mean, look at the last time. So we bounced off of this in December of 2018, and we didn't retest overbought until February of 2019. So quite literally, it took it months to get from oversold to overbought, and Bitcoin just did that in a day, which is incredible. Moving on, 3-day chart. Very, very similar to the 1-day, to be honest. You have the higher swing low over in here by about 1 to 2 points, if that. And the MACD, I believe this is where the MACD actually starts becoming relevant. Yeah. One of the things that we were talking about, and I actually made a video on this, one of the recent bullish videos that I made on Bitcoin was highlighting the fact that this looks like the bears are absolutely exhausted down here. You have 1, 2, 3 3 retests of this area and not being able to put a new low in on this MACD from a 3-day perspective is telling me that there's bearish exhaustion over in here. And as soon as this MACD started curling down on a 3-day timescale, in my opinion, it was almost certainly going to start moving upwards from here. Of course, you did have the death cross being the exact opposite of what this is saying, but this is a very clear form of bullish divergence on the, I almost said that, on the daily time scale, on the 3-hour time scale. RSI, we already talked about that one. So last one on the list is going to be the 1 week and the 1 month. The 1 week, again, started curling up. We saw it start topping out over here. These are all things that I've talked about in previous videos. And it could be going up for weeks now. The 1 month, though, is one of the things where the MACD actually looked like it was coming down. Clearly, that's contradicted now. And over here is, and actually, let's switch this back to a week time scale. The RSI has been coming up for a while now, and on the monthly, it looked like it bottomed out, which is something that we talked about. It came back to a neutral zone and started moving upwards. If we could get this monthly RSI back into this overbought territory, I think that would be really, really cool to actually be able to see this, because it hasn't done that since 2017. It hasn't broken into that area. Of course, it came down over the course of 2018 and 2019, but we could certainly be pushing our way back up there. Anyway, as we got into some of those larger time scales, obviously it doesn't matter because it's not quite as relevant on some. It's very relevant on others, very not relevant on some, but so Batman asked, what is the RSI and what is oversold? So let me actually go ahead and, let's go ahead and have a quick lesson. So this is the 4-hour RSI. It's the one that I would say I use the most often. The RSI stands for the Relative Strength Index. So take that for what it will. We just use the letters RSI up over in this top left corner because it's an abbreviation of the Relative Strength Index. But this is the Relative Strength Index of Bitcoin. And this is kind of a way to measure divergences and things like that. Now, I use it for divergence. Technically, even though when Bitcoin's up here, the strength is very high, but you don't generally, I would say, I don't generally want to buy up here, even though it's saying that the strength's down here. So the thing that I use the RSI for is anything below 30 is considered oversold, and anything above 70 is considered overbought. Now, is it literally overbought and is it literally oversold? No. I mean, there's no such thing as a literal overbought and oversold. These are just the terminology that we use to describe these areas because it's a kind of a way of saying, all right, it's overextended in this area and it is now therefore more likely to come down than it is to kind of hover up in this region and of course come down to an equilibrium. And essentially the way that the RSI works is that in a very simplistic way, it goes from overbought to oversold, to overbought, to oversold, to overbought. And that's kind of just like the easiest way to describe this. Now, I know I'm skipping over a lot of things here, there, and everywhere, but in the long and short term, or a short-term answer of how I use the RSI for the most part is I look for higher swing lows and lower swing highs in the overbought and in the oversold territory. When this thing's neutral, I'm not really trading, but if I am looking to swing trade, I'm looking at this 4-hour RSI, sometimes even the 1 day, and I'm looking for higher swing lows and lower swing highs, which is basically what I had all these dots over here for. So again, lower swing high over here, it tanked to oversold. Over here, higher swing low. Again, so it came down here, came back up, came back down to oversold. It was a higher swing low, telling me that there's the lower levels of negative momentum coming on Bitcoin upon a swing to the downside from the bears. Therefore, the bears are most likely going to be weaker and the bulls are most likely going to be stronger. So I would be, after seeing this, I would probably be longing Bitcoin. And of course, it goes back up over here. And then as soon as I would see that there is a lower swing high, I would most likely be shorting Bitcoin. And that's a strategy I used for a very, very long time. And it made me quite a bit of money. Not saying that it always works because obviously recently I haven't been using it. But in the long story short, that is the RSI and how I use it and how I like it in a very simplistic, fast way. Punisher says at the point where we would reach the line. at the point where we would reach the line. Sorry, we're on the 4 hour. Moving back to the 1 day. So the death cross was 8.63 to 8.71. So the death cross was about $80. It was about $80 from touching. We were about $80 from having a death cross. Now we are currently about 8.62 to 8.76. So now we're currently about 150. So we pretty much just doubled the gap between the 50 EMA and the 200 EMA. I think that's what you were asking. But I mean, geez, Bitcoin is just moving in here. I mean, we're having $100 a minute. That's crazy. Crypto market cap heading to $259 million. No, I'm sorry, $billion. Million. Bitcoin might be heading there. We are the current, let's go ahead and drag this over here. The current market cap for all of cryptocurrency right now is $256 billion. The total volume on today is $130 billion. The Bitcoin dominance is at 68.3%, which is still incredibly high. Incredibly high. Needless to say, Bitcoin's up 30% on the day, Ethereum's up 17%, XRP's up 9%, Bitcoin Cash up 24 to 25%. Tether obviously hasn't moved. Litecoin is up 21%, EOS is up 21 on nearly 22%, Bitcoin SV is up 30%. And let's look at some of the top gainers of the day. V Systems, ranked number 40, is up 62%. I mean, Bitcoin's almost one of the top earners on the day. That's crazy. Bitcoin's back in it. Anyway, let's get back into some TA. I'm sure some people had questions as well. Where do you think we are going from 11.5, 11.8, or even 14K? That's a very good question. Let me read through everything else and then I'll get back to you. I'm already up 300%. Want to pull 100x. Really want to. Well, if you're up 100x. I thought you said you want to pull 100%, and I was like, well, you're up 300%. Okay, so again, not whatever I say isn't legal, financial, or tax advice in any way, but we have a saying in trading. I call him the grumpy old man that is Uncle Greed. He will steal your money. He's the greedy, angry old guy, and he will steal your money. And Uncle Greed does not like being tempted. It's one of the key rules of trading is you can't have greed. Obviously, there's rejection in here, and this is one of those things where it's the question I get asked all the time when this stuff happens. I've been asked it for years. In a parabolic market cycle, where do I take profit? And it's an extremely difficult question because it's a parabolic market cycle. I really can't say that because I can't tell people where to buy and sell Bitcoin. But personally, whatever you feel that you deserve and whatever makes sense on technical analysis. So if there's a technical reason as to why Bitcoin would be rejecting here, and I feel that I have earned enough, then I would be taking profits. If there's no technical resistance at all on Bitcoin here, and it just, like earlier, there was no technical resistance as to why it was rejecting, I wouldn't even think about selling. If I'm in a leverage position and I saw this, I would be a little bit more inclined, but again, it's all up to the individual. I mean, if you truly believe that it's going to go back up and retest 10K, then you can get more out of it. But again, I can't really tell anybody where to buy and sell. Getting into the previous question, though, of where I think Bitcoin's going from here, I think it's hard to say because we have to wait for some sort of a flag to pull out on Bitcoin. Because what happens if this whole thing is just a bear trap or, a bull trap? We've seen stuff like this before. So you can't really say, oh, well, Bitcoin's guaranteed to go up here. We have to watch for some sort of flag playing within the next couple of days on Bitcoin. I would imagine that it's still volatile. It's going to be a volatile zone to the up and to the downside. But once we get an idea of whether a bull flag is getting painted or not, or whether it just kind of dildo candles back down from here, that's where you're going to kind of get your idea of whether or not Bitcoin's going to continue heading upwards. If it uses former resistance as support, again, wouldn't really be a bad sign at all. Needs to kind of hold above this 9K area, in my opinion, because that's going to keep the 50 EMA continually going up instead of pushing it downwards, which would hence just solidify the fact that this death cross could be just something that never happens. And if Bitcoin can, holds below 9K, I think the chances of the death cross happening are significantly higher. The RSI weekly chart is at 44.92 on September 19th. After the RSI, on the weekly chart. It's not working. Oh, I'm on the wrong tool. There we go. So it's currently at the RSI weekly chart 44.92 on September 30th. Yes. After that, the RSI has been going higher. Yeah. And it comes... Oh, wait, you're right. That is... Okay, who was that? That's a really good point. Peter, thank you for bringing that up. So let me talk about this. This is actually a really, really good point. And where... And I know why you brought that up now. I believe it was from... This, yeah, here it is. Oops. That's not going to let us. All right. The reason that I think that he's bringing this up, guys, is because in the RSI on the 3-day chart, it has kind of areas as to where it popularly retraces to. Of course, we have the most significant ones where it bounces from here to here to here. I mean, it literally just goes back and forth in this range. Then, of course, broke through it, then came back up here, retested this area. And then, of course, the second one being in this range where it kind of just bounces up and it continually bounces off this zone, broke down below it, came up, break, hooked, and then continued up. And then now it's back in this zone. So you kind of have three different areas or trend lines, so to say. I don't like to say that word on the RSI because it's not a candle chart. But nonetheless, it has popular areas of retracements. And so essentially what I believe that he was saying, Mr. Peter was saying, is that it came up, not only had a higher swing low, but also bounced off of this relative support area. I don't know how else to say this besides just like a support area, because it's not a candle chart, and I don't want anyone to think that I do technical analysis on the RSI as if it was a candle chart, because they're two very, very different tools, and they have to be read differently too. So with Bitcoin coming down to this popular retracement area on the 3-day RSI of this, 44.92, and then bottoming out over here, of course, it just continued up ever since then, which is very, very true. Which is also a very good sign that it could very well be going up towards, one, this overbought area of around 70, and two, it could be going all the way up to around 90, which would set, I believe, new all-time, it would set new yearly highs for Bitcoin, and it would probably get close to all-time highs if it retests 90. If it retests over here, it would set it to yearly highs, and I believe if it retests 90, it would set it near all-time highs. So, very, very solid point coming out from Peter. I believe that's what you were saying. Poker Throat said, "Don't be greedy." Bolivia, I don't know how to say that. Bolivar coin blockchain. They said we're in a rocket ship, and they think we go into the moon. Mark said, "Do you have any idea what has caused this pump?" China ? The honest answer, I'm very, very straightforward on these live streams. The honest answer is I don't know. I don't like to make up things as if I know what I know and I don't what I don't. And the honest answer is I truly don't know what caused this pump. The probability of this happening was extremely low. It's not something that I was expecting to wake up to at all today. Nonetheless, it's not something that I was upset about. I almost bought Bitcoin I almost bought a significant amount of Bitcoin last night, which is something that I told myself I wasn't going to do. And I have rules set that I wasn't buying Bitcoin above 7K, and it was just on that 7K line, right down in here. So it got very close to the bottom of 7K, but I told myself I wasn't buying any more Bitcoin until it was below 7K, in 6K area or below. And of course, I stuck to my rules. Wish I broke my rules that one time, and missed out on quite the profit today. Gap is at 11.8K. I'm confident we'll fill that. Just don't know how low we'll go in the midst of this pump. And John, I think that's fair. I mean, I'm guessing you're saying a gap on the CME futures of Bitcoin? Or something like that? Bitcoin futures tend to what has the gap. Or unless you're just talking about like candle chart gap from it just being so volatile. Oh wait, no. Gap is at 11.8K. Oh, so previous highs almost. Yeah, I mean, if you look, I mean, that's 11.8K is one of the areas that we have as the first resistance. It's the first resistance above what we're at, so technically the second resistance. So, I mean, I agree with you, man. It could go all the way back up there. Oh, another very, very, very important topic. I can't believe I didn't say this. So one of the most significant things about Bitcoin bottoming out here is the place as to where it bottomed out. I'm sure I could tweak up my fib chart, but for the most part, I mean, you guys are going to get the general point of this. So if you guys don't know what a fib retracement is, it stands for Fibonacci. The Fibonacci retracement here, what I've done is from this market swing low to market swing high. So from 3.1K to nearly 14K, being the top. This retraced to, I'm sure you guessed it, the golden fib retracement of Bitcoin, being the 618 fib retracement. It's the most popular one. It's a meme within cryptocurrency because Bitcoin hits it so religiously. So with Bitcoin coming all the way down, it nearly touched this thing spot on the 618 and then just ripped. I mean, and this is why it's kind of a meme within cryptocurrency, is because it does this all the time. It's like, oh, well, Bitcoin just hit a new high. Where's it going? Oh, probably the 618 again. It just happens so oftenly. So with Bitcoin doing this on such a large time scale, it is a little bit weird, but in the same sense, it's ironic because this happens all the time. So with Bitcoin bouncing off the 618, this is one of the things that makes me actually believe that this could be the bottom for Bitcoin. Again, I don't really believe that because of any other reason. The sole thing that would make me have that idea in my head is the fact that it bounced so strongly off of the golden fib being the 618, and of course the silver fib being the 382. But bouncing off the 618 like this is an incredibly textbook bullish thing for Bitcoin to do. So if for no other reason I think Bitcoin's bottomed out, that's the one strongest argument. If you're a bull and you want to argue that this is the bottom of Bitcoin, I think your best case scenario, your best tool to use is that it bounced right off this 618 fib retracement. So which was at 7.23, and Bitcoin came all the way down to 7.23, so nearly spot on. It was about $50 off. But again, it's probably because I didn't tweak my fib retracement perfectly. I just don't know how low we'll go in the midst of this pump. I mean, yeah, the honest answer is that no one really knows. Mark says, thanks. No problem, Mark. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Walter asked, I saw Libra didn't do good in the Congress. It may be part of this reason. I mean, it could be. I'm sure we'll see more stuff coming out. John says, yes, CME futures. If you guys don't know what he's talking to, he's talking about the gap down from 11.8K. Did the 7,200 gap get filled? I believe it did. when we don't break 11K, this will be another sucker's Really? I think, did you mean to say rally? When we don't break 11K, this will be another sucker's rally, I think is what he tried to say. Yeah, I mean, you have to, there's a lot of things to take into account here. Obviously, one of the most significant things for Bitcoin right here is that it had previous resistance being, or previous support being its first bounce, second bounce, third bounce, and then of course fourth bounce, breaking down and then retesting this. So previous support is now turned resistance. I mean, perfectly spot on. This is the trend line that we had, and we've had this trend line up for months, all the way back since May of this year when it started. I believe we put it up in June. So we've had this trend line for pushing 4 or 5 months now. Because what, we had May, June, July, August, September, October, 6 months. Jeez. So 6-month trend line broke down. And so if you're a bull, you're arguing that this is the break, the hook, and then the go. And if you're an Elliott wave guy, I don't even know if that makes sense, but I don't do Elliott waves. I just know break, hook, and goes. So this could be the break, the retest, and then of course the continuation. But if you're a bull, you're seeing, oh well, this came down to the 618, and now it's just going to rip again. So, I mean, there really is arguments for both sides, and so when people ask me, is it going to continue going up from here? How do you know if it's going to go up or down? My answer is almost always, wait for a flag to paint out over here. If you start seeing a pennant forming, or an ascending triangle, or a falling channel, it's probably going to be a continuation pattern to the upside, because that's just how flags work. Obviously, this is a giant bull pull, so we'll wait to see a bull flag, and if a bull flag paints out, I would believe that this is going to continue to the upside. And I'll probably make a video on this tomorrow, kind of summarizing everything I talked about in the live stream about the bullish case scenario, and then maybe I'll put the bullish and the bearish into one video. Maybe I'll separate them. It depends how long the video is, but I'll definitely be, if you guys want to see more content on this, by all means, hit the subscribe button, and I'll have a lot more content about this coming out. Peter says, yes, sir. We have filled every single gap. We have indeed, which is one of the arguments why it could just keep going up. So I understand where you guys are coming from. Julian says rally. Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't break 11K, obviously it wouldn't be a good thing. Previous support now turned resistance, and it's going to stay resistance until it's broken. That's a big old fat wick that we have right now. It's all the way from 9.7 to around 10.6. So you have about a $900 wick on Bitcoin. It's a big one, so it could be the short-term top. I would say it most likely is the short-term top. I would go so far as to say that this is the short-term top. Is there a bank holiday on Monday? I don't believe so. I don't think there's any bank holidays near Halloween, which is it's a holiday in the United States, but not something that anyone has off for. So I don't think there's any holidays around here. Never mind. The next holiday is in November. Yeah. So we shouldn't have another holiday until around mid-November, which sounds right. I want to take a quick look at what Ethereum's doing just for a split second, because I mean it was ripping as well. We have a lot of jeez. Again, just textbook. So with yeah, I mean, this is beautiful. So let's talk about this. Let's delete this guy, and let's delete this guy. So one of the last things that we talked about on Ethereum is that probably a falling wedge forming over in here, of course. Pretty nice breakout. However, look at, this isn't coincidence. Look at it exactly where the wick came to. I always tell people, 1111, make a wish. I've been telling people, and I think I said this in my last video, if you're not using the EMAs in these areas, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. Now, again, it's not illegal, financial, or tax advice in any way. I'm not telling you to trade using these. I'm just, for me personally, I think that anyone who's not using the 50 EMA and the 200 EMA is putting themselves at a disadvantage because of the fact that they are just using them so well. I mean, they're using them as support. They were using them as resistance. Ethereum just moved from $150 to $200. Ethereum just ripped $200 to the upsides and stops dead on the 200 EMA on the daily time scale. Dead on. Look at these. Jeez. Next resistance on Ethereum is $225. And the fact that it just broke out of this falling wedge, for the most part, obviously it has to break the 200 EMA. Once it breaks that, I mean, you have 225, you have 240, and then you have nothing till like the 300s. Because you have a big old gap in here above like 240. Dogecoin is the future. Just lost my long on Ethereum with a stop loss at 186. Yeah, so if you're longing anything on leverage in here, you're going to you risk getting stopped out. Now, why do you risk getting stopped out? Well, because it's going to be an extremely volatile area. And let's go back to Bitcoin because we can just see it better. So something that I was talking about a second ago when I was on Bitcoin, or really like 10-20 minutes ago, is that Bitcoin in this area was being extremely volatile. I mean, it was going from 600 to 700 to 800 to 600 to 500 to 600. I mean, it's anything in here it's just going to be volatile, which is good because some people are going to just be buying down in here. If you're on a tick chart, you could probably see this a whole lot easier. But Bitcoin, there's no real safe place to have a stop loss in this area because Bitcoin's whipping around like $400 or $500 in here. I mean, anywhere between like 10K and 9K, Bitcoin's probably just going to be like whipping up and down in here. So anybody who is leveraging anything in here, it's going to be, one, it's going to be risky. Two, you're going to be probably getting stop hunted. I forget what the third point was. But again, it's going to be a crazy area. It's going to be one of those high-risk, high-reward scenarios. So if you are leverage trading, just remember this is a high-risk, high-reward area. You're going to be making money very fast, but you're also going to be losing money very fast, possibly. You have the potential for both in this area just because of how much it's whipping back and forth. Can we actually look at tick charts on here? Don't think we can, unfortunately. Tick charts are very nice. Dumb move was riding in the high 25x to BTC. At least you didn't get liquidated. Was riding the high of 25x to BTC to 10.3. Fair enough. So let's go to the 4-hour time scale. Yeah, I mean, look at these guys. Jeez. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I missed. If you guys have any questions, by all means, ask away. If you guys haven't already, hit the subscribe button and smack that like. Helps out the channel a lot, and I do appreciate it. If you guys really enjoy what you're seeing, you are welcome to join, or really, sorry, not to join, to share the stream to anyone else, because we do have a lot of videos and streams that come out on this channel. Also, if you guys want to join the Discord, I will throw a link to that in chat right now. It's completely free, no strings attached. It's just kind of where my community resides, and people are open to ask me questions, post charts, interact, a lot of things like that. What is your gut feeling? Are we going further up or are we going back down? So my gut feeling down here is that we were going up. That's why up until like 2 days ago, I was making bullish videos. But when I saw the death cross get so close, I was like, well, my gut feeling has to be wrong because the chances of this death cross getting, not happening are just so low. So obviously my gut's wrong, and of course it rips. And I still truly want to find out why it did this. There might not be a direct answer, so I might not get one. But my gut feeling in here, man, I would say I'm a little bit confused. I mean, I think that if it's too early to say that it's reversing because it hasn't conquered a previous high. I think that if it conquers like this area, it's going back to retest highs. It's a big rejection candle, so we'll see. But it bounced. I mean, there's such a good argument for both sides here. I would say, based off my history with Bitcoin, let's actually see if we can draw something up over here. I don't like that. I'm trying to have something like this. But there's no like real trend line. Which is a little bit concerning. So basically what I'm looking for in here, and to answer your question, I'm looking ideally how this would play out in a perfect world is that it runs up like this, it rejects, comes over here, it plants a bull flag of some sorts and continues going. So that's my thoughts on Bitcoin. If I have to say anything, that's what I'm thinking. Because it broke out of the falling channel, which is something that we've been anticipating for a while. So I don't think it would just fall right back in. It wouldn't really make any sense. So if it just broke out of this like 4-month long falling channel, in my opinion, it doesn't make any sense for it to just go right back into it. I think that it would at least bull flag once and then move up. Probably break this resistance and go towards to around 12K. So those are my thoughts. New subscriber, thanks man. You're the only one giving TA right now. That's legit. Really? Am I really the only one doing live TA right now? It's a Friday night and Bitcoin's ripping. I feel like there should be more people doing this. Well, whenever stuff like this happens, I like to get on and do some TA because I feel like everyone, these are the times where like everyone has questions. So if there's any time to do TA, it's right now. Yep, this whole move has been strange. The only one that I found, really. Well, see, that's weird. I know like a lot of the guys in the community that do stuff like me, and they're usually on top of this stuff. Like whether that's like Mitch Ray or what's his name? Not Tony Vase. Filicone, Crown. There's a lot of those guys, the chart guys. There's a lot of guys who are usually like on top of this thing. I'm going to buy cement. Why is that? Anyway, guys, this is the chart for Bitcoin. It's been about, how long have we been going? We almost did an hour of just straight technical analysis. Yeah, everyone must be trading themselves. Maybe. I'm gonna be honest with you though. Maybe they shorted and lost money, so they're not in the mood. That's what I was gonna say, Chris. I think honestly, there was every reason for Bitcoin to go down here. So I think a lot of them, whether they'll admit it or not, I'm pretty transparent, and not everyone's quite as happy-go-lucky as I am. If they're not talking right now, they probably got wrecked because there was every reason to be shorting this, right? I mean, of course it was kind of at support and stuff, and it was at the 618, but especially once it got up towards resistance earlier, they might have tried to re-short it. I'm guessing some people definitely got liquidated. I mean, obviously a lot of people got liquidated. I used to have a liquidate here. Let's go look up the liquidation bot. Bitcoin liquidation bot. I can't find it. There's literally a bot on Twitter. I believe there's a bot on Twitter that like announces people's liquidations. Anyway, I think there's a bot on Twitter that's like 200 million people got liquidated. And I was gonna pull it up and see how many people got liquidated because I'm sure it's a ton. Let me see if I can find it on Twitter real fast. If anybody knows what I'm talking about on Twitter, just let me know. Yeah, I can't find it. Oh well. Move this back. Believe you are the only one doing TA. Will subscribes. Thanks. Yeah, no problem, man. I'm glad I can help out. If you have any questions. Oh, there we go. Question. Do you think this rally is healthy considering how fast that it happened? I will answer that question because that's a really good question. Whale alert is one. All right, perfect. Around 9.5 to 10K mark was obvious short entry point. Yeah, I agree with you. And the wick to 10.5K was probably activated a lot of people's stop losses. Yep, it's back down to under 10K, but most of them are already out at a loss. I agree. Whale alert. So before I get into any more questions, let's answer the first one. So Chris, to answer your question, I mean, yeah, with this pushing up, obviously, yeah, that 10K area was one, and this thing probably just wrecked people's stop losses. Some people probably got in from this trend line, again, former support, now turn resistance, but I think a lot of people just got wrecked tonight, or today, all of today. So do you think this rally is helping considering how fast it went up? Yes and no. The first candle, I think, is very healthy. The second, so this is a hard question because yes, it's healthy because it broke out of a formation, it broke out of a downtrend, and it broke through resistance with good volume and good buying pressure. If you want to see a breakout and possibly even a reversal, you need to see it with good volume and with a lot of buying pressure. Of course, we had good volume and we had amazing buying pressure. Again, $3,000 in 24 hours. So if it's going to break out, it needs to have those two in order to be a healthy breakout. However, it has the same argument of, is it healthy to go parabolic? Because then it sets no support for itself when it's coming back down. So I think that if it would have just kind of flagged up in here, if it would have flagged around 11K or 10.5K, it would have been a whole lot harder because it would have been a whole lot worse because then you have this gap of no support, but it needed to get above 9K with significant strength and volume before consolidating in any way. So I think the answer is yes. Up until this point, I think it's healthy. I think any more than this, and it would have been very unhealthy. The fact that it came up here, wicked, came back down, and now is going to start consolidating, I think that this actually is going to be a very healthy thing for Bitcoin because it's respecting technical analysis. It had an extremely healthy breakout, and it's holding above resistance. So everything about this for me right now is saying that this is actually a healthy move, and that this is going to stay a healthy move. Right? Now, if it would have done this like up in here, probably not so healthy because then where's it? Because we already know it's at resistance. So let me go ahead and highlight this and show this. So if it would have came all the way up here and then started consolidating, this would have been an unhealthy move because we already know it's at resistance. The real question is, where is it going to fall down and consolidate to? And so instead of having to be like, oh, well, it could just be anywhere in here. Now that it rejected here and came over and is consolidating in here, we know that it's a whole lot more healthy because we know now that it's consolidating and that there's support right underneath us, and it could probably bull flag anywhere in the zone and then continue upwards. So I think if there's any place to have a healthy consolidation from this run, it's in the spot that we're at right now. Whale alert. Let's go ahead and pull that up. I was not planning on streaming today. I took off everything because I have not been feeling good. But Bitcoin is just... Bitcoin said you got other plans. Whale alert. I can't find it on Twitter. Ah, found it. The whale alert. I think this is it. Is this it? Whale alert move. Someone moved. Someone moved. Someone moved. This is all moves. BitMEX whale. I don't see it. Whale live, maybe? 2.1 million sold. This is from Bybit. These are all Bybit. Well, obviously there's a lot of selling coming in here. Jeez. 2 million bought, 2 million sold. I mean, yeah, look at all the sells. Jeez. The hourly update, BitMEX. 229 million longs. 481 million sells. I think that's what that means. It's pretty even right now. Alright. Whale calls. Okay. I wish you the very best of luck. I heard you talking about a new opportunity that... Crypto Slice of Life says, I wish you the best of luck. I heard you talking about a new opportunity that you will have soon. I have always enjoyed your channel. You are a great analyst. Thank you so much, man. I actually really appreciate that. Yeah, I have lots of opportunities. I'm actually finishing up my last year of college with a degree in business administration and project management, and I am talking to a couple companies right now about what I want to do in my future. So I'm trying to decide, do I work remotely? Do I move to Australia and work? Do I work in the United States? You know, I really don't know. I'm trying to decide all that right now. So I appreciate it. Now, we are going down now. I think we're just going to consolidate in here. I'm going to be honest. I think that this whole range around 9.5K is going to be the center of this consolidation point for Bitcoin moving forward. So we'll see, but I wouldn't get too many hopes up. I think that, like, so when I say consolidation area, like, obviously it can come like anywhere down from in here and kind of just like range. Now, not this big and not for this long, but like this as a general principle, like it can just range in here. So don't be like, I want to short this thing back to 3K or I want to short this thing back to 7K, because that'd be a little bit of a risky play, but congratulations, sky's the limit, be free. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that I am trying to decide. Do I want more? Okay, this is going to sound horrible. There's no good way to say this. But like, I mean this in like an actual serious way. What's more valuable for someone of my age? Is it free time or is it money? Because I can have more free time, like freelancing, doing exactly what I'm doing now and make less money, or I can do all the stuff that I'm doing now plus go like to an actual place and like double or triple that. So I'm probably double it. But that's one of the things, is it's not anything about greed or anything, but it's all about like what's more valuable to for my personal self at my current age, given my current situation, you know? Is it time or is it money? And to be quite honest, is, I don't really know the answer yet. Because I've been doing school for so long, in that, I don't know. I really just don't know the answer. I'm kind of figuring it out myself. Saturday afternoon. Because, like, I could definitely have, like, a ton of free time and still be financially comfortable. But, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of trying to figure it out. Saturday afternoon in Australia. You said you were what part were you from? I know we talked about it earlier. Victoria. Where's that by? Where's Victoria by? Money is so overrated. You got time to get money. Experiences are priceless. It's very true. I was thinking maybe I go like double down or triple down and work somewhere for like a year or two, and then just have the next 10 years to, or more. I don't know. I'm kind of in a spot where I can almost do kind of what I want to do. So I'm just trying to decide. I can keep doing remote stuff and trading, and I don't know. It's just a decision time. I'm sure I have plenty of time to figure it out too. What was I gonna say? We pretty much covered everything that we needed to talk about over here. Volume is growing again on Bitcoin. So I am going to just go ahead and say that I am now done with the bulk of the technical analysis. We've pretty much gone everything. We did 100. We did it in about an hour, so 60 minutes of just straight new information coming out. And I think I've talked about just about everything that needs to be talked about in here. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys were here for the technical analysis, there's not really much more I have to talk about. I am going to be sticking around for anyone who does have questions, just kind of doing some personal TA and stuff like that. So if you guys haven't already, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. And if you guys have any questions, I'm just going to be sticking around answering whatever questions that you guys had. So hopefully you guys did enjoy. Hopefully you guys found this informative and had a good time. So it's question time. I'm going to take a drink of water because I'm very thirsty. And yes, I do have a big jug of water. Thanks, bro. Good TA. Thank you so much, Julia. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming around. We had a lot of new viewers tonight, which I thought was really cool. And if you guys know any crypto projects or exchanges or anything blockchain related, and like you want them to have like a link or anything, like send me. What am I trying to say? If you guys know or have any connections with any blockchain or crypto exchanges, anything like that, companies, I would love to be able to interact with them. I'd love to be able to talk to them. Send me their links. I do consulting work and other stuff too, so I'm always looking for further opportunities. Do you think it's going to keep inching the way down for a while? No, I honestly think that it's just going to consolidate. I think that it could go down like a little bit more, but I think over in this range, for the most part, most of the volatility is going to kind of be done to the up and the downside. I think anywhere between like this 9 and 10K area, it's just going to be consolidation. Probably painting out a bull flag and then moving back up. But it's too early to say anything. I mean, there's literally not even the first part of the flag getting painted out yet. We're still painting, as we're speaking, we're painting the pole right now. I mean, yeah. We're still painting the pole. So, after the poles get done getting painted, then we can start thinking about the flag. So I think just consolidation right now. We've retraced 1K already. Do you think it will reverse to the downside or just cool off? Yeah, I mean, I just think it's going to cool off. I think it's just going to cool off. It'd be very, very weird if Bitcoin, after all of this, I mean, like, look at this channel. It's a beautiful channel. I think it'd be very weird if it broke out like this with all this volume and then just came right back into this channel. It'd be an extremely bearish thing if it just came back down here. But yeah, I think what I think is likely over here is that Bitcoin comes up, retraces, and then continues. What about XRP? It's a good question. What about XRP? It broke out too. Look at this. XRP, potential to 38 cents. Yeah, XRP potential, I would say it has potential to go all the way to 50 cents. First target is going to be 38 cents. So target for XRP is 38 cents, potential to 50 cents, which is a lot. It's almost 100%. Good for scalping. BTC. BTC, maybe. It depends what kind of scalping you like to do. But the only thing that would be really hard right here is it hasn't really created a range yet. So you wouldn't ideally know where to scalp to and from until there's a range. But I think once a range is created, it would be a good place. For XRP, I mean, this guy's pretty straightforward. We created this sideways channel because it was just using it so often. It's from support to heartline, support to resistance, to heartline to resistance, to support to heartline, to support to heartline, to support, up to resistance, to heartline, back down to support, now probably back up to heartline or resistance. So targets are either heartline or resistance. May have missed all the good spots already. And that's the great thing about Bitcoin, is that there's always opportunity. With cryptos in general, there's always opportunity. You just have to be patient enough. What's the best app or site to make quick Bitcoin trades on? So visual, do you just mean like just no leveraged, just flat, like limit orders and market orders, like without leverage, or do you mean with leverage? Quick Bitcoin trades on. I guess here, yeah. I'll just give you a second to answer that. Hopefully my stream didn't just freeze because it froze over here. I think we're still live. I hope we are. Says we are? Okay. Yeah, we are. Perfect. All right. I still can't get over this wick. Jeez. It's another one that we need to look at. While visuals, while we're waiting on visuals, answer. So I can answer his question. What's another good one? Oh, EOS. Duh. Should have looked at this on Bitfinex. Oh. EOS target's going to be at around $4.20. What a rip. Jeez. That's another thing I wanted to accumulate while it's low. So with EOS over in here, broke resistance. Previous resistance is now going to be support. Looking like it wants to golden cross on the 4-hour time scale. And again, potential to around just over $4. Resistance points are going to be here and around here. What was the all-time high for EOS? $23? Oh, holy smokes. There's not really any TA to be done over here, though. Yeah, I mean, there's no TA to be done here. This thing just ripped. Beautiful. I would say that this is a nice falling wedge that it broke out of. Yeah. Very, very similar to Aetherium. I mean, the potential on this is back up to 550, I think. If it's this big of a falling wedge, I mean, I think 550 for sure is potential. So, ideally, it would hit at least 550. So, we'll see. Yeah, without. So I'll give you a couple of different categories. Coinbase Pro, or Coinbase in general, is it's the safest option that you have. If you go to Coinbase Pro, I believe, fact check me on this, don't take my word for it, but I believe Coinbase Pro, you will have free limit orders. With Coinbase, there is very high trading and commission fees. So I believe on Coinbase Pro, you can actually get free limit orders. With Binance used to be my favorite exchange. Binance is now no longer available to US customers. So my new favorite exchange that isn't Binance is CADX. And CADX is I believe it's a top 50 exchange. It's on CoinMarketCap, and it's so simplistic and easy. It's not quite as safe as CoinMarketCap, but it just has so many more features than every other exchange. So I would say CADX is by far my favorite exchange right now, but Coinbase is the safest option. Binance was one of my favorites. They're creating the US version of Binance, but it's not going to be the same as old Binance. Again, it's going to have more regulations and restrictions. So if you wanted to shave off a few hundred here or there, if the market moves up or down, and I will say that I would say honestly, if you're looking for that, Coinbase Pro might be your best option. Again, not legal tax or financial advice in any way, but Coinbase Pro would probably be your best option because I want to say you get free limit orders, and you also can put money in and take money out of Coinbase Pro, because Coinbase Pro you can link a bank account to, and you can put fiat into Bitcoin, and you can put Bitcoin into fiat, which is something that CADX can't do because they don't have a license to do that. So Coinbase Pro might be your best option. I can send you, do you have a link? Do you have a Coinbase account already? Handy Rams, welcome. If you don't, I got you. Actually, I believe these accounts are one and the same. Oh, you know what? It's right in my description. Yeah, right here. There we go. I believe that's a link. So that'll create you a Coinbase account. And yeah, so that'll create you in a Coinbase account. And with Coinbase, Coinbase Pro is owned by Coinbase. It's just they have two exchanges. One, Coinbase is very, very basic, and Coinbase Pro is a little bit more advanced, which is what you'd use for trading for most people. It's a better exchange. Just a little bit more complicated. Hence why it's called Pro. Handy Rams says, what's good? I mean, $10,000 up on Bitcoin is what's good. Well, currently it's around 2,000, but still, no one's complaining really. This is what's good. And that's if you're in the United States. I'm sure there's better alternatives if you're overseas, but in the United States, I would say Coinbase Pro is probably one of your safest options. So nothing's perfectly safe, but you know, Coinbase Pro is one of the safers for sure. Whew. Anyway, we're just about ready to wrap this up. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys have any final questions, I'll stick around for a couple more minutes, but I am going to be wrapping this up as we have gone through the bulk of this information. So I appreciate all you guys coming by. If you haven't already, hit that like button and that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you guys all very, very soon. And I'm going to stick around here for a couple minutes just answering questions, but doing some personal TA. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin's back up. A second ago, it's just at upper 9.4s, I believe. Now it's back up mid 9.6. People are getting chopped. Yeah, it went 9.45. Now it's at 9.65. Blah. Chop, 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 chop. Thanks, man. Great stream. Yeah, no problem, man. Also, yeah, and so I believe when you use that link, if the referral system's still the same, if you use that link to sign up, you'll get $10 of free Bitcoin after you put in at least $100. So I think if you put in $100, you'll get $10 free. So you'll get $110. So you're basically starting out with 110% if you put in $100, which is a pretty good referral system. Most people have garbage referral systems. Subscribe. See you next time. Thank you so much, Lindsay. Austin, I closed my 25x long out at $9,500. Where was your entry? Does Coinbase Pro allow leveraged trades? They do not. Maserati, they do not allow leveraged trades. If you want to do leveraged trading within the United States, you go to Kraken, which allows up to 5x leverage, or you get a VPN and use like BitMEX or Deribit or one of those guys. But you have to have a VPN over there, and you still risk getting banned if you're caught as a U.S. citizen. If you're out of the U.S., almost every other country allows you to do it. So there's that too. Up 500%. Wow. That's a good day. I don't know. I want to say I've had close to 1,000% before, but I don't know if I actually have. I know I've had over 300%. It was a very large position too. I don't know if I've hit 500% in one trade. In a single trade. It's hard to do. Push up the feeling. Push the feeling up. Subscribe. Thank you so much, Mr. Hubbard. Opened at 76.12. Woo! Absolutely paid. Thanks. Appreciate the stream today. Yeah, no problem, man. Glad you guys enjoyed it. So I'm going to go ahead and start shutting this off, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you guys coming in here. Austin, Maserati, D-Wave, Mr. Hubbard, Lindsay, Handy Rams, everyone else in between, Crypto Slice, Julio, Mr. Jack, Poker Throat especially. Appreciate all of you guys for coming in and tuning into the stream tonight. I will have more content coming your guys' way very, very soon. So hopefully you guys are interested for that. If you guys want a link to the Discord, there is a link for that in the comment section down below, or in the description down below. It's completely free. It's just kind of where my community resides, and we talk about things and people can ask questions. Because I'm sure that there will be a lot of stuff getting posted in there with what just happened on Bitcoin today. So hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you guys did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys very, very soon.